I'll introduce myself. My name is Brittany McLean. I'm the marketing lead here at Korbit AI. So the topic of today's event is how Playrix increased developer productivity and code quality using AI-powered code reviews. So the term AI-powered code review might be new to some of you, it might not, but we will get into exactly what that means very shortly. The session will be recorded today, so you will receive a recording of the event at the end of the day today. And if there's any technical questions, feel free to use the chat function at the bottom of the screen. But also we have a Q&A box as well. So if you have any questions about what we're talking about, we would love for you to engage with us. We've also set aside 10 to 15 minutes at the end of the session to open the floor for further panel discussion. So looking forward to that as well. If you're not familiar yet with what Korbit AI does, Korbit is an AI-powered code review and engineering insights platform that gives developers instant context-aware feedback on every pull request. So reducing bottlenecks and upskilling engineers as they work. So with that, I'm happy to introduce the other two hosts of today's webinar. We have Riley Davidson-Evans, Senior Software Engineer here at Korbit. And we have Ilya Bogin, from technical producer from Playrix. So Ilya, I'll give you the floor if you want to give yourself a quick introduction, and then we'll get right into it.
Yeah, thanks, Brittany. I would like to say a couple of words about the Playrix. Playrix is one of the leading mobile game developers in the world. We are making very, very famous games for mobile platform like Homescapes, Gardenscapes, Fishdom, Township, and some other games. I'm not sure whether you have been able to play our games, but I'm sure that you have definitely seen a lot of our advertisements because our advertisements has been displayed, I think, for everybody at the Facebook, Instagram, and any other platforms because we, I think, one of the main game advertiser in most of these platforms. Yeah, so this is a couple of words about what Playrix done, and also I would like to say a couple of words about how we develop this game. We have quite a large developer team. I think overall we have more than 500 game developers. They are separated on different game projects, so each game has its own team, cross-functional team, including designers, technical designers, people from the art, and of course a lot of developers who develop the business logic of the game and make this game so interesting for our gamers. We use our own game engine, the C++ based engine, and most of our developers are senior senior or maybe upper senior C++ game developers, and our code base is quite large because of our game engine and because of the game itself, because the game is rather complex software. You need to describe everything because when you develop this more standard application, for example, marketplace application, you use standard UI elements from Apple SDK or Android SDK or maybe Flutter SDK, and you combine them, set up them, and work with them. But when we talk about the games, we are responsible for each pixel on the screen. We create everything from the scratch. Every effect, every UI element, every button, every effect on this button is created by our developers, say by our technical designers. So we have quite large code base, and of course we need a lot of help, a lot of tools for our developers to be more productive. My role as a technical producer is to help our developers on such areas as developer experience, continuous integration pipeline, internal developer tools, and of course, AI infrastructure to help them be more productive and develop the code with better quality and with a faster release cycle.
No, that's wonderful. And thank you so much for being a part of this. My name's Riley. I'm a senior software engineer at Korbit AI. And yeah, to kick things off, I think one of the things that'd be really interesting to know with such a large engineering team spanning, multiple time zones, what does Playrix actually look for when it comes to code review? Because it's a huge part of, your entire process. What types of things do you look for when it comes to a high quality code review, and how does it help?
Yeah, good question. Thanks, Riley. I like the concepts of feedback loops.
Mm,
Everything that we are doing through our SDLC is one of feedback loop. When you try to compile your code, it's a feedback loop. It can
mhm.
compile or you can receive some errors during the compilation. When you run your tests, you receive the feedback from the tests. You run pre-commit hooks, you receive feedback from the code reviews, then you receive the feedback from the Q&A, maybe from your after test, then from the product team who tries this feature and say, no, we want something different. So this SDLC is a number of different feedback loops. And one of our goal is to find the more problem as possible at the earlier feedback loop, because first of all, it's faster and it's cheaper, because
Yeah,
each the longer feedback loop that you have, the more costly it's for you as a team to make the changes and to fix the problems. And the longest feedback loop is bug in production. So if you have the bug in
true.
production, it's very costly for you. You can lose your users, you can
Yeah.
lose money, and you require to make as fast as possible the hot fix to fix this bug. So we try to make the shift left and to find the problems as earlier as possible. And the
Mhm.
code review is one of the fastest feedback loop. It is placed on quite early, maybe not the earliest one, but one of the earliest. So it's very important for us, and we would like to find as much problems as possible before this stage or at this stage. Our manual purposes for code review is code quality in terms of absence of the issues and code maintainability, and using our code style and code policies. And the second area is sharing the knowledge between our developers and make it easier in the future to maintain and change this code.
Like reducing the cognitive overhead of all of the
Yeah,
different files,
yeah,
because
yeah,
that, I've worked in situations like that in previous jobs where that is really, really difficult when you have to jump from multiple directories and then all of a sudden it's totally different code. And then you're not totally sure what the best standards are. Um, yeah. And so when it comes to AI tools that have helped your team specifically achieve that type of goal, what made you choose Korbit? What was kind of the deciding factor as you looked, from the competition, because you're talking about code health, reducing cycles, increasing quality. What was that process like for you?
yeah. Of course, now is the market for AI tools. So there are a lot of
Yeah.
different AI tools at the market, and
Yeah.
every day the new one appears.
Yeah.
First of all, we try the survey-based approach. So we integrate the tool, ask our developers to use it for a couple of weeks, and then
Hmm.
use a survey and ask them what how do you think about, would you recommend the standard NPS survey? Would you recommend such an instrument to your peer developer? How you are satisfied with the quality of this instrument, etc., etc., etc. But this approach has not worked for us. So we understand that we need some different approach. We have asked our developers to create the set of the pull requests with known issues. There are pull requests with some errors or problems or code style problems from different areas and from different complexity. The easiest, the medium, and the hardest one. And then we use this set to create the numeric, the quantitative score for each of the two. So we run the instrument on this set of the pull requests and calculates how much false positive, false negative is for each of the instrument. And in our cases, Korbit shows very, very good results on our benchmark. So it was a reason why we have chosen it.
Absolutely. I mean, I think what you're talking about when it comes to benchmarking is super interesting because and I think that's great advice to make your own benchmarking, to be able to test the different tools, whether it's AI code reviews or code generation, because there's so many now. We internally do a huge amount of benchmarking to be able to basically guarantee, releases of new prompts, models, post-processors. It can be laborsome, but without it, developing anything or implementing a tool that is LLM based is really hard to try and guarantee any level of success. So I think that's totally accurate. And you mentioned it. I mean, you go.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. There has been also one interesting insight about code review and benchmarking. Of course, there has been some number of false positive. So let's describe these terms. So false negative is the situation when you have some problems in your pull request, but AI-powered tool has not been found them. It's false negative. And false positive is that the AI shows you some potential problem, but your developer say, no, it is okay. I understand. That's good enough. And first, we think that both false negative and false positive is bad for us. So we would like to find the problems. We do not need any false negative and any false positive. But then we understand that false positive are also very important, and it's good that we have them, because false positive means that this part of the code can have the problem, and it drives the developer attention to this part of the code and makes him to decide whether it's okay or not. So false positive is not bad. It's also a very important part of code reviews in terms of driving developer attention to this part of the code.
And you know what? Actually, now that I think about it, early in my career, I would do reviews, like senior people would ask me to review their code. And one of the things that I did notice, even if I made a comment that wasn't actually correct, it would spark these conversations of, wait, actually, why are we doing it like that? And then you end up having this conversation. And that's a huge part of, I think, what we try to do, where, we have all of these post processors, which what you're talking about, right? It tries to reduce hallucinations, false positives, all these things. But there is a little bit of this secret sauce where sometimes, when it pulls your attention to something, right? Because you're going to get all the high quality ones and stuff like that. Those can also, like you're saying, be super fruitful, because you'll have a conversation about code that you haven't actually looked at for months. And you're like, wait a second, what are we doing here? And you mentioned it as well when it comes to, things that do deliver quite a bit of value that maybe were unexpected. Are there other things that Korbit offers that the team has built that have brought a lot of value? Because I think most people come to us for the issue detection, but then we've now built, this suite of features to, hit managers and all these things. Are there things in this suite outside of the issues that you find very useful or powerful?
Yeah. As you understand, I, as a technical producer, have not very much time to writing the code by myself. I would like to, but I have not enough time. So for me, one of the very important features of the Korbit is a PR description. Korbit prepares very, very detailed PR description, and for me, it's very useful because I'm not writing the code, but I'm reading the code a lot to understand what has been done and whether it should be done or not. And the PR descriptions helped me very much to understand what exactly has been changed and why it has been changed and how it can affect different parts of our code and logic. So yeah, it's and as I have discussed before, the sharing the knowledge, sharing the responsibility for the code is also one of the main purposes of the code review. And having detailed PR description helps this a lot, because when you have PR description, you can return, and you do, for example, you do not understand why this change has been done. You can open the PR, you can find the PR that has been introduced this change and find the description, and this automatically created description describes you what has been done and why it has been done and how you can complain. And it's very, very make my life much easier, because previously I have seen a lot of pull requests with the description, bugs has been fixed, feature has been done, task has been completed.
Check ticket. And how does Korbit Insights also play into someone like your role? Because that's really what, how does that play into your role?
Yeah, the Korbit Insights is like a PR description, but for the much the larger area. For example, I can ask the Korbit to make the summarization of the changes for some repository for some time period. So it's like PR description, but on steroids for larger purposes. So it is also one of the useful feature in Korbit, and I using it a lot to understand the changes during the large period. And Korbit Insights can be used for a lot of different purposes, because you can use it, for example, to see what exact developers has been done through the period. So it can be about the code, but it also can be about the developer. For example, you want to decide fire him or promote him. How you can decide? You can ask Korbit what has been done by this developer for the last month, and Korbit will describe you everything that has been done with a lot of details. So yeah, Korbit Insights can be applied for everything that is related to changes in your repositories, creating the release notes, displaying how the team is working and what has been the main points and main changes that have been made by the team or by the developer, and everything like this. So yeah.
I do remember even having someone was using it as basically their developer journal. So I guess one common thing is, as a developer, ideally you're making like a history log of not just what you're doing, but like what you're learning, all the growth stuff. And so she was using Developer Insights as a developer herself to basically create, because you can, subscribe to Slack or print it as a PDF. And she would every week basically give herself a thing, and then she would feed all of that into ChatGPT and be like, summarize the growth that I've whatever. So it's been really interesting watching kind of how that feature has gone. But the one thing that I would love to hear, because you guys are so large with so many developers, and a huge part of your job is introducing all of these tools to help speed up your team. Korbit is really nailing and trying to help you guys with reducing cycles, improving code quality. And like you said, even the false positives can spark knowledge share opportunities. And then the insights are really to try to do that, but at a manager level. You've obviously started to introduce many AI solutions at this point. How has Korbit played alongside and complemented other AI tools that you've implemented at this point? Do you have any examples or anything like that you've seen so far?
Yeah. Yes. Currently, we're using we're trying a lot of different strategies, because everything is changed with so fast
every
pace.
day.
Every day, everything changed from the scratch. So yes, we are not at the final stage of this process. So we are changing everything. We're trying different tools. Of course, we are, I think, as a lot of companies, we're trying the standalone agents. The agents who can do the changes by themselves, who do not require to be launched in your IDE, like Cursor or GitHub Copilot or some other IDE-based tooling, but the tools who works at the cloud, like, for example, Devin, I think. The Devin is most well-known, and currently it's one of the hottest topic, because I think every company now introduce their own standalone agent. OpenAI introduce Codex, Google introduce Julie's and Gemini Assist.
And OpenAI has one too, right? I think is it Codex? OpenAI Codex.
Yeah. So I think it will be one of the main topics of the second half of the 2025, the competition between such kind of agents. Currently, we are trying the Devin. We like him most than other instruments, and we have seen the situation when they play with each other and they do not require any assistance from us. Devin create the pull request from the task, and Korbit makes him some notions, finds some problems. Devin understands because Devin listens for the comments at the pull request. He makes the changes. Korbit check it again. They make a couple of iterations and then receive the code that is good enough for both Devin point of view and Korbit point of view, and then you can go. So from my responsibility is just to click the button merge, and everything is okay, because I know that this has been created by Devin, checked by Korbit. From my just click the button merge. So it's very interesting how everything has changed and how we are going to the multi-agent types of systems when the agents connects to each other, talks to each other, and find the best ways to implement the task. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, because I think we're kind of hitting the point now where the real human process is really coming into play, where you or I on a team with each other. If I write the code, I'm not the one that reviews the code and then hits the merge button. I write the code, but then I have to send it to Ilya, and Ilya reviews it. So you have two separate, entities reviewing it. And now we're there. Like we use Cursor Agent at Korbit quite a bit, and then it's a pretty magical, wild time right now.
But I think that it will be better to have separate tools than one single tools.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
Because LLMs, the current way of fine-tuning the LLMs is to making them to achieve the result. So I have seen it during the creating the changes that the main goal is to achieve the result. So because of this, it's better to have separate agents that have separate purposes, because the main goal of the Devin to introduce the change, and the main goal of Korbit to find the problems and to be sure that the quality of this code is as much as possible. So when they have these kind of purposes, then their combination and their connection and interconnection can help you achieve the both goals, the fastest changes, but with the best quality as possible.
Absolutely. I think it really does mirror people at this point, right? Where it's, everybody has different skill sets or things that they've prioritized. And I think the agentic flow is really just almost the hardening of that. You have some that are really good at code generation and code review. And our VP of AI, Matcha, actually always kind of says it in that way, where code generation and code understanding are two very different things. And so when you try to apply that too generally to a singular ML model or OpenAI or whatever, it gets really tricky to actually do a good job. So that isolation is really important right now. Yeah, just wanted to say thank you for everybody for joining, and Ilya, is always a pleasure. So I'll let Brittany take it from here, but thank you everybody for listening.
All right, so we have some good questions coming in here that we'll get to. So we'll start with Andre. So first question is, which different engineers could benefit from this? For example, software and technical. Riley, did you want to take that one?
I think both Ilya and I can answer that one quite well. Question. I think Korbit has a unique capacity to benefit every level of software developer. So when you start talking, yes, in the various industries, okay. So when we think about like a junior intermediate software developer, one of the key goals for them is growth, right? You want to grow that engineer into a senior or a staff. And a huge part of that is exposure to senior level practices and those types of things. And what Korbit really helps you do is give someone like that relatively instant. The reviews take anywhere from like 1 minute to 3 or 4 minutes, depending on the size of the PR. They're instantly giving a really, really fast cycle with a collaborative bot that's going to try to help teach them and enforce high level kind of senior or staff industry standards. And then when it comes to the senior and the staff review, speaking from experience, and maybe I shouldn't admit this, one of the tricky things that can happen when you get very comfortable and confident when it comes to writing code is you can make silly mistakes, or you can make things that, yeah, and it's so the senior staff level reviews, a lot of times they're also going to be exposed to new design patterns and also just potential issues that, because of the complexity of the work that the senior and the staff level developer is going to do, the types of issues that Korbit is going to be able to catch really, really quickly can be very complicated. And so it's complementary to a human review. So that's kind of what I would say. Ilya, do you have thoughts on that?
If you talk about helping different levels, the engineers of different levels, I think that for junior and middle level developers, Korbit is very helpful as a senior developer who can check their code. So for them, the main advantage of the Korbit is to having the senior developers that will answer your questions and check your code in just a minute. Because usually one of the problems with the code review feedback loop is that it requires human attention, and people has a lot of different tasks, a lot of different goals. So it can take some time for another developer to get to your code review and make your feedback. And the Korbit will help them to receive immediate feedback just after they create the pull request. And it helps them to iterate much more faster. And for the senior and staff level developers, I think the main advantage, of course, they are very senior, and most of the issues that can be found by Korbit can be easily found by themselves. But for them, I think it is very, very useful in terms of helping them to review, because usually the senior level developers makes a lot of reviews of other guys, and if your company will use the Korbit or some other type of such instrument, but of course we currently recommend use the Korbit. They can when they arrive to the pull request, it has been already there has been a couple of iterations, and all the simple bugs and simple code style breakthroughs have been already found and fixed. So they do not need to recheck it again and to spend their time to such kind of issues, and they can spend the time, for example, on false positives that can be tricky, that can show some ambivalent points that can be good or bad. So I think it will helps your senior and staff level development a lot in terms of spending less time on code reviews and making the same asking
The same comments all the
the same
time. Yeah.
comments times. Do not use it. I
Yeah.
have told you a lot of times. Do not do not use such kind of
Yeah.
operator, for example. Yeah, and if we talk about different industries, one of the features that we have asked from Korbit, and Korbit has implemented it, maybe not for us, but for everybody, the policies, the ability to add your own policies, and Korbit will use these policies during the code review.
And with the question as well, the way that Korbit works is that it seamlessly integrates into your existing pull request workflow. So for GitHub and GitLab and Bitbucket, your developers basically do exactly what they were doing before, except Korbit is going to come into that pull request process really fast and give you that high impact, description, the issue detection, and then power insights. So as long as the team uses pull requests, like Aaron said, Korbit will be able to work in there, and then you can customize it through policies and a couple other settings like Ilya mentioned.
I'll ask you a question, Ilya, that came in. What was adoption like in your organization?
In our case, it's not been very easy because we have our developers mostly are senior level or senior plus level. And of course, each senior developer knows how to write the code, and he knows the best way how the code should be written. So of course, a lot of guys has been very skeptical of using any kind of AI-powered code reviews tool.
It sounds like it might be the same case, I think, for a lot of teams. I'm sure it's not unique to Playrix, but that's just
My advice, you need to show the results. So I have described you that we have the problem with the survey-based approach, because if they just try, they cannot be sure is it good or bad. But when you show them something, some benchmarks, some results, it's easier for them to understand, how it can help them.
And I think that's also where, we have made a very conscious effort to try and design the way that we present issues, the Korbit insights, and all those things as a way to try to enforce that we are there to help. We're not there to replace. We're there to be alongside you, try to catch some bugs, up level where we can. And, the way that we present issues is very purposeful. So you get like a title and a category, and then you open it up and it tries to elaborate, what is the issue? Why does this matter? What is the potential fix that we can give you? And those are all things to try and allow, there's always going to be very skeptical people when it comes to AI implementation, whether it's code generation or code review or anything. Like you put AI in front of anything and you're going to get very different camps of people. So that's always something very interesting that we're very conscious of as we introduce new features and, support companies like yours as well, right? We've done a lot of calls together and, feature releases and stuff like that. It's wonderful.
Yeah, and also why the AI world is so interesting right now. Each AI tool is based on the general LLMs, and the general LLMs improves with a very, very fast pace. So even if something is not so good right now, you can be sure that in a couple of months it becomes better, and in half a year it becomes much, much better. And we have seen it in every instrument that we have used right now. That if we use it for example, for 3 months, for a half a year, we have seen how these instruments became much better just because of the LLMs. For example,
Mhm.
Claude 3.7 Sonnet is much better than Claude 3.5 Sonnet. And we see that each new model is much, much better. So I'm sure that if anything not working very good today, it will definitely will work much better tomorrow, and in 2026 it will work much, much, much better.
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay, well, I think we're at time now, a little bit over. I would like to thank everyone again for joining. It's been a great session. Thank you, Ilya, for joining us.
Yeah, welcome.
It's been great to have you, and we'll see you at the next one.
Thank you
See
so much,
you.
guys.
Thank you very much. Bye. Have a nice day.